No buzz. The Just Peace Book Club. We're talking In the Woods by Tana French briefly today. Um, you heard the story about Rob, aka Adam. He had like two really close friends when he was 12. He and they went out to the woods a lot, but then one day they went out to the woods over this little wall in their little fake suburb that was built with the promise of it becoming a real suburb, but never really got built. It's one day they went out and they didn't come home, and it was the 80s, so everyone was like, well, it's probably fine. It's, they're not home for supper. And then, like the next day, there was a big to do about it. The police came out. There was a big search party. Everybody in town is looking for him. His two friends. They find him, of course. They find him. There's a he's got some big scratches on his back. He's huddled against a tree, sort of standing but catatonic, and um, his shoes are filled with blood in such a way that it's clear the shoes were filled with blood before he put them on, because the blood comes from seeps from the inside of the shoe out and from the outside of the socks in. You know that story because Rob is Adam 20ish years later, and he's on the Dublin Murder Squad. And this is the first. I want to say this is the first like real, just straight up mystery novel I have gone for since I had my big 2021 Camillarian Keen uh, excursion. I don't know. It's all before this channel. So, if there's any mystery novels on this channel, like the one that I really hated now that I'm thinking about it, um, uh, that was like 2 years ago. Why do I do this? So anyway, Rob, he's Adam before, he's now Rob, I think. It's been a week or two. Uh, he's now on the Dublin Murder Squad, and he's partnered up with Cassie, who is like his soulmate. They spend all their time together. They work cases together. They happen to meet. She's like the only woman on the murder squad, and she and Rob was like still kind of like a newbie at the time, and so they kind of weren't sure if they were gonna meet up or not. And then one day her Vespa stalled in the parking lot, and he gave her a ride home, and they hit it off just like that. And the two of them became soulmates. Everyone was thinking they were having sex. They weren't actually having sex. They just genuinely got along like that. They get assigned the case of Katie, a 12-year-old girl who was found dead at an archaeological dig site that also happens to be the center of a protest or a protest movement, because the government is basically eminent domaining it. I don't know if that's not the term in Ireland. I'm sure. But it's again, it just happens to be in this woods that Rob was found in 20 years before, 23 years before. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I think he's 35 in the book, he was 12 in the thing, and there's this dead 12-year-old. In the Woods is a novel about the protagonist Adam slash Rob's history, but mostly it's a novel about the murder of this girl named Katie. Go through the usual mystery novel rigmarole. Um, you think there's a bunch of eliminating suspects, there's a bunch of late nights on cases, there's a bunch of interrogations of the father, who is not just potentially abusive, and the mother, who might be doing a Munchausen's by proxy, but the father is also the leader of the protest movement, and so there's a bunch of different things wrapped up together. He has received threatening phone calls from somebody who might be involved in the third partner, Sam, I think was his name. Sam's like might be in the orbit of Sam's family because Sam has like some politician, you know, uh, relatives, and it all balloons, it all deflates, it balloons again, it deflates again, it balloons, it deflates, it deflates, it deflates, it deflates, it deflates, it deflates, and then it happens. What happens? Do they find Katie's killer? Do they find out the truth of Adam slash Rob's past? Are these things deeply connected? These are the questions the book really wants you to be asking all the time. And I mostly was. I was mostly invested. I guess I'm not actually invested. I've never been invested in fucking anything in my life. I've been doing this for 2 years. That's not true. It's like a year and a half. um, I wasn't invested. That's not how I approach books, specifically novels. I was interested throughout. I sort of half figured it out halfway through and was like, I don't. And this is the thing that happens to me often with mystery novels, where I go, I'm pretty sure it's this person. I actually don't care if it's this person, and then it turns out it was that person. Um, the thing that got me through it was the fact that I like reading mysteries when my brain feels bad. It often does, and it was a pretty competently written. I wouldn't say it was like beautiful, although there was beauty that shone through occasionally in just the construction of the prose. Um, I wouldn't say it was like, it's not it's oh, what's the word for that? It's very good at the thing I'm doing is describing the word I'm looking for. It's very good at having a consistent and compelling sense of place, which is the thing I do really love about mystery novels, particularly. Like, that's kind of like a prerequisite for me, in the way that many people say, like, I want a mystery novel to have a good mystery. That's fine. Whatever. Like, whatever. That's fine. You can have a good mystery. That's it. It's cool when that happens. But like the thing I've learned that I want truly from a mystery novel is like to use the scaffolding of a mystery to give a strong sense of place. This is why I fell in love with Camilleri. I mean, um, I fell in love with Camilleri because uh, of his incredible descriptions of Italian food, and Montalbano's pretty explicitly leftist past as a police detective, and that's another thing that I think French does a decent job of like having somebody who is a homicide detective, but whose politics aren't simply what we do is good and it is good to be police, which is I think a bare minimum for me. But then Camilleri's Montalbano is on top of having such luscious and beautiful descriptions of food. There's also just gorgeous Sicilian landscapes, whether those are you know marble buildings, whether those are beaches, whether those are potter's fields. Like, I feel like Camilleri does a fantastic job of that, and I think French does a really wonderful job of describing I, of describing Dublin, which is to say, a city I've never been to, have never spent any real time with the cinema of, have never, I don't have an image of Dublin in my mind, so I'm not comparing it to Dublin. What I'm saying is that there's a strong sense of place in the novel, which is Dublin, for that novel. I've never even read Ulysses. That might change soon. Anyway, they're all alcoholics in this book, but like in an Irish way. It's not true. Adam slash Rob especially goes down a hole. Um, I really liked it. There's a bit in the sort of reveal where the narrative voice kind of pumps in, is like, I bet you never would have guessed that this was the one, and I was like, I kind of did, but I didn't care, so that's cool. Um, but I also genuinely didn't care. So it was like it didn't like bug me, but it did have a moment of being like, uh, it had a moment of clarifying a thing that was actually a thing that was sort of bugged me, which is like there did feel like there are moments when the book was feeling too clever by half. I think there's like a particular moment where um, they like don't want to pursue a lead because they're like, you know, it couldn't be the fact that people had like land interests in the area because that's just the kind of thing you read in a mystery novel. And I was like, that's the thing that's the world. That's the world, though. Like that's I don't know. Maybe I just live in a gentrified as fuck city, but that's the world, though. Maybe I've lived in a building that was uh, intentionally set on fire multiple times for insurance money. That's too much of a mystery novel thing, right? Right? It's a mystery, and then that was like the actual moment that bugged me, where and that sort of general sense of like we're doing a mystery, but we're doing a little more literary than usual, and so we're not going to fall to these cliches of thinking about the world as simply being invested in interests of money or whatever. That like kind of popped up here and there within the book. Um, I don't know. It was a genuinely enjoyable read. I think there was really good use of language in it. A thing that I will simply be a sucker for ever. Um, and I finished it. As you know, you be every book I finish, I make one of these about. And then at the end, I say, that's right. Thanks for not watching.